2, 3, 4.
Oh, yeah. You're as pretty as a picture and as sweet as a man can be. I'm gonna fix you, baby, so you can't trouble me. I'm gonna copyright your love, so I will always know where you will be. I'm gonna copyright your kisses, 'cause they all belong to me. I'm gonna copyright your loving, just so you can't give it away. We'll stroll through lovers' lane, and I'll be happy every day. I'm gonna copyright your love, so I will always know where you will be. I'm gonna copyright your kisses, 'cause they all belong to me. I'll steal a kiss from your lips, I'll copyright the sweet things you do. You'll whisper in my ear, baby, and I believe that it's true. I'm gonna copyright your love, so I will always know where you will be. I'm gonna copyright your kisses, so they all belong to me. Protection, safety is my aim. I'm gonna copyright your kisses, so there'll be no other claim. I'm gonna copyright your love, so I will always know where you will be. I'm gonna copyright your kisses, 'cause they all belong to me. I've met a lot of nice men, but there's none as sweet as you. I got lots of competition, but I'm afraid of losing you. I'm gonna copyright your love, so I will always know where you will be. I'm gonna copyright your kisses, 'cause they all belong to me.
I just really want to sit under a magnolia tree with that.
I know. I feel like going to Alabama now.
I know. But then kind of Cajun, not Cajun, but Bayou country. That is really good, everybody. You just heard Mia Vermillion sing, oh, my gosh, I'm going to copyright your kisses. It's off her debut album, Alone Together with the Blues. Of course, you're listening to Rants, Raves, and Rock and Roll, and I think she just calmed us into a nice, slow, cool vibe here. Right here on Big Blend Radio, it's Nancy and Lisa, and we've got the David Bully Bowers, who introduced us to Mia here, and she's joining us. And, of course, we've got bluesman Johnny Mastro. So really happy to have Mia join us, and you can check out more if you go to her website, miavermillion.com. There it is. Mia, how are you doing?
I'm great, thank you.
Well, can I go listen to that under a magnolia tree instead of being in the studio now?
Anytime.
I love that. Awesome. I love it. I love that.
It was a great find, that song.
Yeah, it's a great song. And this is on your debut album, Alone Together with the Blues, and I know it's done really well on the charts as well.
Yes, it was my debut. It's something I produced as an independent artist, and I was really happy with it, yeah.
See, this is it, David. You always go find the independent artists. I think we like independent artists that just stand up and go, it's mine. I'm doing it.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah.
And I had discovered Mia, about 3-4 years ago when I was doing another show, and been following her ever since, right up through, I think you had a rather successful appearance at the Dock of the Bay Blues Festival, about a month ago?
Yeah, that's right, yes. They broadcast that live, and I had a great show. I brought a trio, and, it was just fun. Great time. The crowd was wonderful. Standing ovation at the end. It was very acoustic.
Say, you got some good reviews. Yes, you did.
Yeah, it was lovely. Yeah.
I want to ask Johnny here. Johnny Mastros, you're in the blues for years and years and done a number of albums and done a lot of touring, nationally and internationally. What do you think of that? Isn't it just good?
Well, it's great. She's got a very, very sexy voice, So, I was totally intoxicated sitting here listening to it. But no, it's great. And then I like old blues, and that right there could be out of 1928, or 1930 or something. But it still sounds fresh, So it sounds great.
Thank you. It is an old song. It's something I found that Big Bill Brunsey wrote, that Lil Green sang. And I think it was written in the late 30s, before the World War II era.
Wow.
Those are the type of blues I love too,
And it's nice and simple, and it allows the music and the different instruments to come out and have their place without it getting cluttered. And it's just, I want to now. You know what? Now I'm thinking I want to go driving through the Orange area, the Fresno, and not Fresno, but through the Orange Blossom Trail, going through Central California again. I'm going back there. I've got a thing about music out there because. You had from the Bakersfield area. Now, Johnny, you just came back from Kern County area and doing the Blues Festival out there. But if you go north through Central California, it's like going through the agricultural land. And we went wine tasting in this limo that took us around. But they were playing this old school Hank Williams stuff. Just, you were right back in the 20s and 30s. And yet you're driving in a limo drinking wine. It was trippy. But I think your music would be just amazing there because of that sense of place.
I kind of like to hear it with that old vinyl record sound behind it.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That would be so awesome.
I want to hear it on a gramophone. Yeah, a gramophone outside.
Yeah,
it needs to be outside.
Okay.
I like it. I like it a lot.
I know. It's like, can you take our order, please?
Yeah. Please re-record it with this background.
Yeah. What got you started in music and then specifically the blues? Was it always the blues?
No, I have a really broad taste in music. I don't know that I truly understood that my foundation was so rooted in the blues until I'd say 5, 6, 7 years ago. I've been, I think I came out of the womb singing. I remember putting on little shows for my parents, pretending that I was singing with Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
And I share his birthday, I'm very proud to say.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Yeah, and
connection.
That's just kind of where I've always been. My mother was a beautiful singer. The blues were something I came to as a child through written work, the written song sheets of the old classic blues, and that's really where I put my main focus. And then when I started singing them, that's where I went to, and they just kind of sat with me really nicely. So I stuck with it, and I decided to, if I were going to put out an album, it would be blues. So.
You're quite classic. You're classy, but you're classic. Even your speaking voice and how you put your words together in a sentence is classic. Seriously, I'm just listening, going,
yeah,
my gosh, I'm just the way you're speaking. I'm like, wow, this is going back, and it's something where these days, and David, we've talked about this on the show a gazillion times. Everything's fast. But there's something with Mia's voice, just even her speaking, that makes you just stop and chill out.
Yeah, absolutely. Matter of fact, it's funny that we should have gotten onto the sex and music theme and gotten Johnny all mellowed out earlier in the show, because among the comments that have been made about Mia's singing was all about jazz's Michael Bailey said that he described her as sultry and intoxicating infuses her singing with more humidity than Ma Rainey and more sex than Lena Horne. So
humidity.
Wow.
I would say that Johnny is a pretty good judge of voices. Yes.
Yeah, Johnny. Are you into humidity?
I'm into women. How's that?
Johnny, I don't know what happens. The show always starts with a theme somehow, and it runs all the way through. I don't know what's going on.
But I mean, I think pretty much all music, and I'm gonna, and people, I know I'm gonna get the emails. Music is sexy. It's meant to be. It's primal. It's your inner soul. The only music that I would say doesn't necessarily go there is classical music, and I love classical music. But I also, I like the syncopated, do your own thing, as opposed to 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. That's
the difference between British horse riding and American horse riding.
No, that's a cowboy, but that's sexy too. But there is, there's something about how you decide to approach a note and sing it on time, or a little before, a little bit after. Change your voice, which we don't hear in classical music because everybody has to play together. So I think leaving classical music out when you're talking jazz, when you're talking blues, when you're talking rock and roll,
in country,
it is sexy, and I think it's meant to be.
And Mia, that's part of it. I think that you've got definitely the blues. But when you were talking about Johnny Cash and style, I see you kind of that combination, which they all had, that little bit of country, little bit of blues. I'm not playing the Osmonds here, but, it's country and blues. And I think I kind of see us going back into that nowadays. That's why I was thinking of Central California, going through there, because it's like when you drive through there, people are dressed, and they drive in cars like that. They are dressed like that. They are living it. They are in it. You need to go there.
I need to check it out.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like they're really embracing it back. And whenever I go up there from Bakersfield North up to Squaw Valley, Dunlap area, in California, not Nevada, if you go through those towns, I know it sounds nuts, but this is it. When you travel and stuff, you see this, and people are embracing it, and I see it start to pop out everywhere. It's kind of like how rockabilly's coming back, and I don't think it ever truly left.
Are you kind of talking the Grapes of Wrath of Scott Fitzgerald type of look, or is that what you mean?
It's kind of like retro, but it's before that. It's kind of, we're back. Yeah, it's more the 20s and 30s, and going back to, hey, we're in a simple house. We're going to sit down, and even the clothing. I'm going to send you
I think
stuff.
We're talking simplicity and sex.
So you're talking folk, kind of folk-ish.
Kind
in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, with some, sophistication. Well, with some modern.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's me here because I just didn't grow up around this, So maybe it's. I don't know what to call it. Johnny, do you know what I'm talking about, or David?
Good luck.
Does anybody know what the hell I'm talking about?
I can picture. I mean, I visualize it.
It's even the glasses and it's kind of like the hipsters kind of style. That's something. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
I have to say, when I sing these tunes, because it is kind of the classic, I tend to embody the era, and because I love the era, and I understand what you're talking about, the era that is that comes across in these pieces, because it's the lingo of it. There's a lot of lingo in that era that we don't do these days, and I know I wrote a couple songs for the album too, and I was very aware of making sure that the lingo didn't pop out as something completely out of left field compared to the pieces that were actually written back then, and yet have this this modern day kind of light on it. And it was to me a body of work, and not just one song here, one song there. I was kind of taking just exactly what you're talking about, the feel of that period, and working with it in my own interpretation of what it means for me today.
It's like going to a place and having the sense of place instead of tract housing. You get the sense of place, the heritage of the people, and it's giving the sense of what something is, that soul. And I think we're kind of craving that as a society now. I think there's a bunch of us that are going, come on, can we get past all this, clutter and go down to the basics and the real stuff, the simplicity. And when I say basics, I mean that in a good, way of let's just listen to good music.
I hear you.
I want to say, Johnny, when you think about it, when you think back to those times, does it make sense what I'm saying about the sense of place? Because you do have that visualization. To me, there's a visualization with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like it creates a landscape, and you can put yourself in it, and it has that, it's always nice to think about life being simpler, and I guess we think about that before all this technology and whatnot, but songs like that, they just kind of bring you back there, almost put you into, a theater where you're part of it, and that's, I always look for that with music, and it's hard what she's doing because the style, is really probably 50, 60 years old, if not more, and she's still making it sound fresh. So that's a pretty good thing to have as far as having a skill.
Thank you, Johnny.
I think, it's like walking down the street where every house looks the same, or walking down the street where every house is different. Mm-hmm. That's the difference for me. Listening to stuff when you can, hear a whole lot of music, which we do all the time here, and it all starts to sound the same. I'm like, okay, tract housing, track music. Mm-hmm. And then you'll come across musicians who you cannot put in that category, thank God. And it's like walking down the street where every house is custom or different, not tract housing. And I know now here come the emails about tract housing and bikes. But anyway, yeah. So it is. It's about people putting their own stamp on it and doing it well, and I think you got that.
Well, thank you. I don't know that it was intentional, to tell you the truth. And by the way, Johnny, it's really nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you, too.
Like I was saying, I don't know if that it was that intentional because, quite honestly, I had not ever heard these blues. But I had read them, and I had seen the written music of it, and I had studied the form lyrically and melodically, and often these jazz musicians were behind it, and it just fascinated me. So I started to just take them and interpret them and work with them, and honestly, while making this record, I really...
What a risk. Wow.
Did you read the music? Because that... As a singer, do you actually read the music? You said you didn't listen to it as much. You were reading that.
I never listened to it. I had never.
You physically read the music, so you read the notes and then in sight read and sang that. That's hard. I did that magical singing, and that's hard. It's hard.
I took my guitar. Well, you know what? I have been singing since I was a kid, just enjoying my own work, writing my own work and singing anybody who makes me feel good. And then I found these blues. I used to just for some reason go out of my way to find the sheet music because, I grew up in Western Washington, and I'm 50 years old, and you couldn't hear this back then. But I was, searching for music that meant something to me. And I worked in a music store when I was about 15, 16, and we would get the sheet music and songbooks of, all kinds of people. So I was always exploring music that was not of my era. And I came across these classic blues and some of the history behind them. I found them fascinating. I found the form really solid. And I thought that there were a lot of women in this that had such a strong point of view and in this form, which was just like foundationally like a frame, you know what I mean? And these women were in it. And to me that was really something because the only person that I knew of, I had come across Bonnie Raitt, like when she put out her very first album when I was young. And I didn't really connect her to these blues. I didn't connect that. I just hung on to them just for the very fact that historically they just seemed really cool. And so, and I was listening to a lot of music then, but I was also learning music on my own for myself and studying the way people wrote and things like that. And I went and studied music in college, and I sang musical theater for a long time. Mm-hmm. And while I had young children, I would do musical theater and loved it. And I just had a real affinity for, like you say, the theater, the place of it all. Mm-hmm. So when I went to make an album, it was because I wanted to found a beginning of somewhere to start from musically and publicly, and so I was putting it together, and I was just working with these really fantastic people, and it happened that it came out that way, and the reason is because it truly is me. It is an adult lifetime, a young adult lifetime of just really getting into this music, and just it's just the way I did them is all. I think they came across that way in the written form. I think it just comes across.
Man, you make me want to just go do music. I'm like, wow, it just kind of like, wow, But it brings it back to the art form, and then also what Nancy was talking about, the tract housing, but it's the quality, and I think quality is so important, and I think we forget that sometimes. I think what happens with people with a label demanding, and Johnny and David, I know you guys can talk on this too, a label like, you need to get this out. It's like an author with a publisher that goes, okay, I put you under contract, you need to have this out. So then people start slinging stuff out, Some's going to be good, but it's not really their heart and soul and that quality of art where you don't necessarily, do you go back and want to perfect things even further? Do you have that experience like an artist?
When I go back and listen to these?
Mm-hmm.
Or if I want to perfect them?
Yeah, are you 100% like when you're done with it? Like sometimes you want to, as a musician or an artist or an author, you go, damn, I want to go and redo this part again.
You know what? Not with this album, no.
Awesome.
Not at all.
Awesome.
I worked really hard on this album. Mm-hmm. I edited the majority of it, and I recorded the vocals at my own home, and I did a lot of. I had a wonderful engineer who worked with me, with all the instrumentation in terms of getting it all recorded beautifully. And but I would take all the raw tracks home. I would listen to everything, put it all under a microscope. I knew every note, in and out.
Yeah.
And so
now listening and talking with you, yeah.
Awesome.
Because you've got a wonderful, quality to this, and that's why I'm going, God, you can't go back. You know what I mean? But you've taken that.
No, I don't want to go back. I worked hard on it, and once I was done, I was like, I'm done. And,
right.
And the whole time when I was making this, I just approached it as a body of work that I wanted to do since I can remember, to try and open up some possibilities for myself as a musical artist. I had been home taking care of my family, raising my 3 children, and teaching and things like that. And I would do community music here and there, or, I'd get on my guitar and go play out now and then, but I never got to do it on a scale that I really wanted to, and especially when the digital age came along, just being able to, I was able and fortunate enough to put together a digital studio. It just, as the digital products were coming out, I just kept, acquiring them, learning them.
Are you performing live anywhere now for people to be able to come out and see you? I was looking at some festivals that you were doing.
Yeah, I had a really great summer this year. Did a lot of festivals regionally. I was playing, every weekend, several times, and I had a great time. And when I put this album out, the reason why I did that was because, like I said, I wanted to begin working in a manner that I would be acknowledged for my skill and ability and fun in my life idea of what music is. And I hope I'm not too serious here.
No. I think the thing is, this is your heart and soul, and so to me, I think this is something very important to someone. And when you listen to it as a listener, okay, I don't see this being someone slaving over a piece of work. And you don't want to as a listener. You don't ever want to have that feel unless that's what this song is about, Yeah. But you hear it, so you hear this beautiful piece, and like everybody had a visual of what they want. So there's the quality, but then when you talk and you hear from you all the work that you go into putting it together, that's amazing. That's why I was asking that question about, do you ever want to go back and, because you've got that, I want this quality, this is what I want to do, and you're very determined. You sound like a very determined woman to me, and I always respect that. Johnny, this is the same thing with you, with putting something out like an album. It's like putting out a book. I mean, this is like a baby,
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's found, it's good to find balance. You don't want it to sound like too forced. You don't want it to be too produced, but yet it's got to sound a little bit organized, and I think that she's found that balance where she's comfortable with what she's singing, and it sounds really natural. So, yeah, I mean, it's, everybody has their different ideas about it, but I think it's best not to overthink, music.
Yeah,
I agree, because
when it's done,
Yeah, it's like a painting. Once you paint it, you could always look at it and go, oh, dude, I should have done this, that, but you can't keep going backwards. You got to go forward.
Well, Mia, I want to know what your rant and rave is.
Oh, okay. Well, just to let you know too, that just on that particular track, there's several of them, but that is a single take on the vocal, and it is a single take on. This was the one folky tune on there, and I just wanted it to sound really natural, and so that is, like I said, a single take on the vocal, and those are single tracks.
I know what you mean. That's hard.
It was fun. I mean, that one went down really, really fast. The one thing I worked on that track was the little kind of tap shoe sound to it. That was a washboard, and I wanted it to sound a little more woody, and so I just kind of worked in studio getting the sound on that I liked. But in general, I kind of stepped away from that one, and that was like one of the first ones I recorded for the album and let it go, and then came back later to it. But yeah, you got to step back. You just lay it down, step back, and it makes you happy. You kind of want to leave it alone.
Yeah, that's like sex.
Yeah.
That was not me, Johnny. That was Lisa. I didn't do it.
I want to thank David for getting me on here. He has been following me for some time. It's been really great. I'm so happy he wanted to do this and got me in here. It was fun.
Bully rocks.
Yeah, Bully's
I'm so
Bully's
happy
the
that you're
favorite
able to join us.
Bully's the man,
Bully. Yeah.
Well, we call him Bully, but he's not a bully. We just call it. There's a whole story to that, but he's Bully in a good way because he can do Theodore Roosevelt's voice, and so we call him Bully.
Oh, I see. Well, we met each other on Twitter. That's how we met.
Ah, see.
Mm-hmm.
He's a tweeter. Bully's a tweeter.
He is like one of the tweeters from hell.
He
tweets and tweets and tweets.
Social media can be a good thing.
You're now going to be Tweety Bird. Tweety Bully. Okay.
You can be bought at the border of Mexico almost everywhere.
No. No, that's for Fernando. Uh-oh, David, we're going to get you in trouble.
I don't want to do that.
Okay, so come on, I want to hear a rant.
Okay, I've got a rant. It just came to me, too. I just experienced this. I did have to go through a lot of medical stuff over 2009 and 10 and part of 2011, and then I came back singing really a lot. I mean, in a healthy, fun way, where I was just really on top of it. Back this past spring is when it really came back for me to be able to get out and do everything I wanted. And anyway, example of a front desk medic. Okay, so you got your family doctor. Yeah, I keep this medical institution. But here's who gets me the most. It's the front desk of these offices. They're like Nazi firewalls. And if you just somehow say the wrong. They're like soup Nazis.
Yeah.
No soup for you.
Right,
you know.
In fact, they're going to be the ones that say bend over and cough.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know.
First of all, they're stupid.
That's what we call them.
They're stupid and uncaring and disorganized.
Not all of them, but there's the ones. There's
pretty
the
much.
ones. Those
pretty
ones.
Much.
There's
much.
a certain, you can tell by their hairstyle what they're going to be
Oh,
like.
God, yeah.
My worst insult is you can go to the DMV and get better treatment.
I did. That was the point.
See?
That's what just got me. I'm getting foot surgery in 2 weeks. It's an add-on deal. I have to repair a navicular bone that broke in half. And I'm doing great. I'm walking around. I don't even feel it. It's really hard to do. But in order to do that, I need to get a disabled placard for a couple months because I cannot put any weight on my foot at all. And I plan on getting out. So I'm like, okay, and the doctor says, and I love my doctor. She's wonderful. In fact, I've known her for 15 years. Our kids went to school together, you know, and I've had dinner at her house. So,
okay, good.
Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
So I get the form from the DOL, and I take it into the front desk at my family doctor, and I filled the entire form out. All she needed to do was sign it. And it was a prescription, you know, basically. And I come back 2 days later, and the woman at the front desk, she hands it to me. She goes, that's $25. And I said, what are you talking about? She goes, well, we're doing $25 completion form fees. And I said, are you kidding me? She just signed it. She goes, well, there's more to it. I had to scan it and put it as part of your records. And I said, I don't know what doctor does that. And
send her to me.
You know what? And I felt
I'll
like it
show
was
her
just,
what I do to scanning machines. Mine's broken.
It was like some random arbitrary. All of a sudden, she decided to make that call on me because she's getting an attitude because I'm in there, you know. I don't have any idea, but it was just too whatever. And I go to the DMV to get the placard today, and they give it to you free. They don't charge you. And I said, you know, I had to pay $25 friggin' for the doctor to sign that.
Mia, I'll do it for 20. I'll do it for 20.
I got 15.
No. And the DMV goes, that makes me mad. Here's my card. You go tell them they don't have any right to do that. I was just like, the DMV is telling me.
Oh, my God.
I know, because I noticed lately the DMV is nice.
I know. Well, that's because they want our money, right, David?
Absolutely. And Johnny,
that's why we
you
have all
can't
the
kid
cops
me.
out
You'd do
now.
it for a sexy song.
Yeah, no, that's why we have all the cops out with all their traps right now. No offense to cops. I think you do a lot of good stuff, okay? No offense to our, you know, uniformed people taking care of us at all. But damn it, dude, you're all out there right now trying to get us.
Christmas season.
It's Christmas. Yeah, I'm going to go to Mexico because at least you just pay a bribe, you know. Jeez. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm done now.
So that's my rant.
Good rant, Mia.
Good rant.
Good rant, because
Awesome.
we love Bully and we love your music. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, and nice to
You
meet
take
you all.
care, and you know what? Good luck with the next round.
You know, kidding.
I'm going to send you an image to give them, my scanned image. I have a good one.
Okay.
Keep in touch with us, Mia. Let us know what's going on with you.
Thank you, David. I will.
Thank
care.
you.
Take care, Mia.